I mean, it really just depends. You know, is Kevin going to try to emulate Khabib? You know what I mean? Is he going to try to just emulate that headstrong forward pressure? You know, I don't know. It's tough to say. Probably going to have to go with Edson.
Kevin Lee has kind of like that wrestling-based grinder mentality as Khabib. I think so, but I think Barboza has great timing. This is a very hard fight, really, to predict. I know Barboza is coming off of a loss from Khabib, but that was like the worst five in a round anybody could ever go through. What surprised me, what really, like, I started like rooting for him not to tap, to these strikes. And it kind of gave me more respect for Barboza when he took that punishment and just kept on going. He didn't give up. He just sat there and just took it, man. That gave me so much more respect for him, because I know what it's like being in those situations. Most people would quit. They would just like tap and give up, or just cover up and turn and let the referees stop. He did, man. But he's got that heart. So, man, that's a very difficult one to choose. I'm gonna go for Barboza on this one.
From a fighter's perspective, I see Kevin Lee going in there and doing his job. I think he's gonna do exactly everything that he says he's gonna do. I like Edson Barboza, but I think that he's making way too fast of a turnaround, and I think he needed some rest and really just needs to rebound himself as a man from a loss like that, where I thought Khabib broke him with pressure and broke a man's spirit. And when a man's spirit is broken, it takes a little time to heal, just like anything else. Just like your mind, after you take that type of consecutive damage over and over and over, opposed to one hit, like in my last fight was one blow to the back of the head. I think that taking accumulation of blows is much more dangerous and has a much more negative effect. And I think you need the time to heal, the time to recover, the time just to get your path back in. And I think Frankie Edgar's coming back too fast also.
That's a very interesting fight, because Barboza is just such a nasty, explosive striker. But I always thought Kevin Lee was a striker, but he actually has some very, very underrated grappling skills, man. He's actually good. So I can honestly Kevin Lee just kind of taking him apart and wrestling him up and kind of submitting him and ground and pounding him. So I think Kevin Lee wins by like stoppage in like the third round.
Man, that's gonna be a good fight. It just kind of depends on what happens. If Kevin Lee kind of takes a page from Nurmagomedov's book and walks him down and uses his wrestling, it might be a different story. But that's gonna be Kevin's win if he does that. But if he gives Barboza that distance and that space and lets him, get comfortable and work his kicks and use his range, then I think it's gonna be Barboza's fight, man. I don't know, man. It's gonna be a tough fight. That's a really good fight. Man, they're both coming off losses, but I think I'm gonna go with Kevin Lee, man. I think it's been a close fight, to be honest with you.
Man, that's a huge fight, man. Huge fight. Those are two very, very big boys, and man, it's a 5-rounder, right? 5-rounder, man. I'm going with my boy Barboza, man. I trained with that guy before. He helped me when in the first season of Tough. He was with Frankie Edgar, so he helped me out a lot. And got to go with him. I think he's going to really be able to use his leg kicks and his kicks. And if Kevin Lee can get on top of him, grind him out, it's going to be, it can happen. But I'm looking forward to that fight. It's going to be a good one.
I'm going to go Barboza. Kevin in his last fight. Ooh, is a B. Oh, fuck. Oh, Jesus Christ. I'm going to back up real quick. I was about to yeah. Let me see. Barboza, I just think, even after his last fight, he was losing, but he had gas in the tank and he was firing. Kevin Lee, I think he fought Ferguson his last fight. Was it? Yeah. It didn't look the best, Also, there's some other stuff outside of fighting or outside of the cage that affected him as well with his coach. I'll go Barboza if I was going to put my money on anyone for that fight.
Yeah, no, I hope to be at that fight. That's a good one too. I think you know, with Ferguson, oh no, you said Lee and Barboza. Yeah. With Lee, we saw that he got finished by Ferguson, and he kind of gave up in that fight. I know he was dealing with the staff, so you never know where someone's at when they're dealing with that kind of thing going into a fight. But, you know, he faced some adversity there, and he gave up pretty quickly in that submission. And I think that shows sometimes someone's character when times get tough, you know. And with Barboza, the guy's got one of the best striking games in the whole game. So, you know, he's going to be throwing those kicks and have that heavy striking pressure on Lee. But Lee's got really solid wrestling, and I think he'll be able to take Barboza down kind of similar to what Khabib did, where he could take him down over and over and over, and eventually that wears on Barboza. As long as Lee could avoid those strikes, I think he can get a decision by, you know, outpointing him with takedowns.
I mean, it's an interesting fight just because you got a striker versus grappler, but I mean, I feel like if Edson could fight the way he's going to fight and find his range, then I feel like it could be a good night for him. Obviously, I think that Kevin Lee's one of those guys that I feel like I've picked him to lose a lot. You know, I feel like I've picked him to lose a lot of fights, and somehow he figures out a way to win. So he's one of those other guys that just finds ways to win. But I think that Barboza has a scarier skill set, and so I'll take Barboza on that one.
Edson Barboza by the standing up. I think so. But you know, it's a fight. Everything can happen inside that octagon. So, but yeah, but we have it's interesting.
I'm gonna have to go with Kevin Lee. I think his well-roundedness is being able to grapple and being able to strike with power. I think it's gonna give Edson some trouble. But you know, with that said, man, Edson lands one of those kicks, man. It's good night.
I'm surprised Edson Barboza didn't take a little bit more time to kind of recoup after he took a beating in that last fight. Would like to see him kind of just take maybe a little bit more time to heal up and get a little bit better and stuff. But I do still like the matchup for Barboza. He seems just a little bit more well-rounded at this point than Kevin Lee. But Kevin Lee's a big, powerful guy, so you know, it's MMA, anything can happen. But if I had to put my money on it, I'd say Barboza gets a bounce-back win.
That's a tough one to go too. You know, Kevin Lee is looked great. You know, didn't look as great in his last fight, but he's looked really, really good. And Barboza just hits so hard and kicks, and I don't know. I'm gonna go Kevin Lee.
Privately, I don't like too much Kevin Lee, and I hope so Barboza kick his ass. He's better fighters. I think more experience and more stand-up fighters. So I think Barboza will win this fight. I hope Barboza win this fight.